Africa is one of the most unequal societies in the world. We all know that, right? But what exactly does that mean? Well, Oxfam South Africa has done the research. For instance, it's found that it would take the pay of 461 black women from the bottom 10% of earners to make as much as the average white male CEO takes home in a year. Let's unpack the findings a bit more. I'm joined by Basani Baloyi from Oxfam South Africa. Basani, thanks for your time. We appreciate it. I know you launched this report today, but if you can, take us through your key and startling findings.
Well, I mean, the first that you've just, and hi, it's lovely to meet you. I mean, the first finding that you mentioned is quite startling, the fact that, you know, the bottom 10% of 461 of the bottom 461 black women at the bottom make up what a CEO may make up in a year. And our research basically looks at how, you know, the labor market inequality is one of the key reasons for this gender and race, income and wealth inequality. And in fact, research has already shown that wage inequality contributes about 90% to overall income inequality. And existing government policies have basically failed to reduce this economic and gender inequality because there's a macroeconomic framework that has been deeply entrenched that rather than reducing the dominance, it doesn't reduce the dominance of a handful of conglomerates that are based in the extractives and energy and finance sectors. And this industrial structure, which was established in apartheid, for instance, employs more machines than it does workers. It has led to a decline in manufacturing, high unemployment, a booming stock market for the rich, and much to the exclusion of small and medium-sized businesses and the informal sector. And basically, this system is also supported by unrecognized and unpaid labor of mostly black women who do the care work that is needed to get people to work. And they do this without pay. So you can see it as modern day slavery in that sense. And all the while, these mostly black women's market work is in low-wage service sector, the low-wage service sector. So we estimate that unpaid care work is valued at 14% of GDP. And, you know, the COVID pandemic and the lockdown has shown the weaknesses of the system because the focus on this extractive model means that we do not have the industrial capabilities to produce the essential goods and services that are needed by society in times of crisis because of our reliance on imports, which worsen unemployment and inequality. And moreover, the lockdown saw the shutting down of borders, disrupting global supply chains, which has meant that economies need to do more to be self-sufficient, to actually manage their future.
Yeah, and so our government is failing to get that right, you'd say, even now.
Absolutely. Even now. I mean, we see the new recovery plan, for instance, calls on massive investment, right? But the question is, where is the money to come? What the government is saying is that it should come through the likes of, for instance, public-private partnerships, and that the private must step in to actually mobilize the financing that is required. But, you know, there has been an investment strike in this country. At the same time, we have austerity that is looming. And there are serious budget cuts that make it very difficult for us to see how it is that we can actually mobilize the funding that is needed. We talk about ensuring that we implement wealth taxes, for instance. That's not on the agenda, unfortunately. Yeah. Prescribed assets, mobilizing prescribed assets would be key. Many people have spoken about this, yet that has not been the focus. You know, prescribed assets, I think it's very important to note, were used during apartheid That is what built Eskom. That is what built ISCO, which is now Metal. That is what built SASL, which has been subsequently privatized. But, you know, these were very key instruments to actually get the funding that is required. But of course, we also have a governance issue as well. So we need to ensure that we tackle the governance issues, and we have certain recommendations on professionalizing the civil service to ensure that we don't see the graft that is actually taking place as well.
All right, we're going to have to leave it right there. Basani Baloyi from Oxfam South Africa.